So, last night, me and my girl watched Dragon Ball Evolution. We've watched pretty much every other Dragon Ball movie, so we just figured we might as well try watching it. Even though it is, or was, the worst rated live action movie for the longest time. Every Dragon Ball fan, and even most people that are not Dragon Ball fans, know that this movie is reportedly terrible. It is said by so many people that the movie is terrible. But I actually kind of liked it, and I'm going to get into why. My girl and we decided that we were just going to get drunk as hell and watch the movie because we thought there was going to be no other way of getting through it. The ratings were just that bad. It holds a 2.3 right now, I think, on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's only after being dethroned by Snow White, which is now sitting at a 1.4, I believe. And the thing is about it is the movie really isn't that bad. Like, if you're gonna watch it, you gotta watch it with an open mind because there is a lot of stuff that they got wrong. But these are things that you would never even notice if you're not a Dragon Ball fan. If you were just a random person that was like just into seeing movies, like you just go and see random movies just for the hell of seeing random movies, and you happen to walk into this studio, if action flicks and cheesy American high school drama writing is up your alley, then you're gonna like the majority of what Dragon Ball Evolution has to offer because they take the aspects of Goku's early life, and instead of him being a child, he's already like in his teen years. He's fucking going to school. He's falling in love with girls and trying to make his way in the world. And the thing is this Goku is very uncharacteristic of the Goku that we know. So that's already a big red flag to anybody who is an actual Dragon Ball fan. Like for example, he falls in love with Chi Chi just instantly. Like he's pursuing her, not the other way around, which is already one big change to the story. Not just the story, but again, character writing. And I mean, again, that's something that's pretty easy to dismiss. Like, if you're not going to take the movie seriously, you can wind up enjoying it. It's actually pretty good. They introduce each character one by one, and you have to kind of spend your time guessing. Like, if you hadn't seen Dragon Ball before, you're not going to recognize anybody. But if you've seen Dragon Ball before, you're going to go, oh! And more often than not, have the character's name out of your own mouth before they even say it in the movie's dialogue. I will say I was not a fan of the casting, but that's one of the things that makes this movie so poorly rated was the casting. So it's you gotta deal with it, right? Because the thing about that kind of casting is it actually works in their favor, even though it looks bad and seems off. It does work in their favor because it distinguishes Goku as different from everybody else, and you start to see that as he develops powers. Like they mention the Ozaru in this story, but instead of the Ozaru being a direct link to the Saiyans, the Ozaru is a separate demon, I guess you could say. And despite how many changes they make, like having weird casting or the Ozaru being a demon and not an alien, um, they also do a few things to try and keep true to the original story, which I think is what bothers so many people so much, is that they tried and flopped pretty hard, but they tried at least instead of just throwing everything away, which is what it seems like in so many other scenes. For example, they stay true to how Gohan dies. Grandpa Gohan's death is technically not at the hands of the Ozaru, but it is still true that he does get crushed. He gets crushed somehow. and I'm not going to say how just for the sake of spoilers, but he does get crushed, just like in normal Dragon Ball. And they also stay true to the story of King Piccolo's invasion. They made sure to keep that in there. So like I said, as many changes as they made, they also tried their best to stay true to the actual story. Um, which I think is due in part to the fact that Akira Toriyama was actually on this project, but reportedly, according to something I saw online, I'll see if I can put it here, if I can actually find the link again. But there was a report that said, with a quotation, I read the statement from Akira Toriyama himself that they were not listening to his input, and he tried to tell them like, don't do this, it's not gonna work, like just don't, it doesn't make sense. But they didn't listen. They assured him they knew what they were doing, and well, here we are today with Dragon Ball being known as Dragon Ball Evolution being known as one of the worst movies of all time. But still, I stand by my previous statement that the movie was not that bad. They make sure to keep a lot of the key attacks involved. They use the Mafuba. Um, I don't like the way that they utilize the Kamehameha. The Kamehameha was really odd in this, and they also kept referring to key attacks as airbending instead of like actual key beams. They were more like blasts of air, like Aang would use. They literally called it airbending, and I think they actually made a reference, if I remember correctly. They also made a reference to air, like the actual Avatar series, because they make, before they say airbending out loud, they list the four elements as if, I mean, just naming the four elements doesn't make it an Avatar reference, but it's the way that they say it. I don't have clip access to it, so I can't leave it here for you guys, but it was just a nice nod. And that's actually something else I want to go into real quick. The movie has a lot of references in it. There are scenes that are direct one-to-ones from other movies. I can't remember the one that I want to mention off the top of my head right now, but they do copy some scenes. And actually, going back to the key blasting and the airbending in this movie, the key blasts looks a shit ton more like the same magical blasts that get used in the Harry Potter duels. The energy itself just looks exactly like the way that they animated the magic in the Harry Potter films. Speaking of the animation and the CGI work, etc., they were actually well funded, very well funded for this movie when it comes to the CGI. 20th Century Fox did not hold back at all with this movie. I think this movie actually got way more love and funding than most of the Fantastic Four movies got. And I'm not even exaggerating, because some of those Fantastic Four movies, the first couple of ones that Fox Century made, the scenes with Mr. Fantastic stretching, for example, those were trash for the first like 3 attempts in the movies that they did. But you go and you look at Dragon Ball Evolution, and the scenery, the key attacks, everything they CGI'd into that movie looked almost fucking flawless for a movie that came out in, I think, 2009. It was extremely impressive. I have been going on for probably about 9, almost 10 minutes now. This is going to be a longer one unless I cut some of these segments out. But I'm telling you, this movie's not as bad as everybody makes it out to be. It stays as faithful as it can to the original source material, while also being its own thing that American audiences would recognize and think they would enjoy. Now, whether or not they would or did, it has been proven. I have said it like 3 times, 4 times now, but it just, I don't know. It was a really good movie. I had fun. It was good. It was fun bad. Like Charlie says, Penguin Zero. He has this thing. He always calls them fun bad movies. This was a fun bad movie. It was entertaining. It was the casting was not the casting. They got good actors. The acting was good is what I meant to say. Not the casting. The acting was good. The choreography, not so much. That's why people said that it was like very Power Rangers. The fights with the fight scenes were very um, Power Rangery. Lots of hovering around and flying through the air like there's zero gravity. But I mean, it's a martial arts movie. That's how they did special effects for years in martial arts movies. So I don't know why people complained about that. I would give Dragon Ball Evolution. We're gonna do the scale out of 7, like the 7 Dragon Balls. I would give it a 5 out of 7, probably a 5.5. It's definitely not a 6 out of 7. It's not a 7. It's not a perfect 7, but it's not bad. I mean, they didn't they the thing with how they used the Kamehameha was weird. They also stayed true to the Piccolo clones, the spawn of Piccolo. We got to see that, and we got to see Mai. There was no Shu or Pilaf, but I mean, they really wouldn't have fit into this movie anyways, with just the way that it was written. Some of the certain characters just would not have fit. We also didn't get Puar, but we did get Yamcha. I really liked Yamcha. Yamcha was so much fun. He was he was so much fun. I really enjoyed the way they did Yamcha in this movie. He was already so surfer like, so like California dude, fucking hang ten, surfs up. He's always been like that, even in the anime. But they nailed that with the actor for this. Again, the acting was amazing. The casting was mid. The CGI top notch. Just go watch it yourself, honestly, but don't rent it. Don't spend money on it. You might not wind up liking it. It's not worth spending money on, but if you can find it for free, pirated wise, go watch Dragon Ball Evolution. I'm gonna stop this here because I've been going on for so long. Peace out.